Can you talk a little bit more about the MUSH sector, particularly when it comes to public housing and the CAS, and how people of this province and children, I guess in the case of the CAS, are suffering because of a lack of an independent ombudsman?
You know, I call it power protectionism. It's to protect those who have the power. And unfortunately, in the current system, we oversee many of the bureaucrats in skyscrapers in downtown Toronto who come up with policy, but we don't oversee how that policy is delivered in the hands of the public. Children's Aid Society consumes $1.4 billion in public funds, huge amount of money, dealing with the most vulnerable people in society. There is no oversight mechanism that will investigate independently and report back to the public on how they are doing in performing their duty. We're the only province in Canada that doesn't do that. Something is wrong here. Hospitals, we're the only province in Canada where the Ombudsman has no oversight in hospitals. The public health sector consumes half the public treasury in Ontario. Why is it that you can't go anywhere to complain about a hospital? It doesn't make any sense. And so those are the two areas which I think are really no-brainers. You know, Ombudsman oversight is not about expenditure of money. It's about value for money. You want to know that your dollar is actually being put to use, that your dollar is being well spent, that people within our hospitals are performing reasonably. You don't have that assurance today. You've got the odd website that provides data. You've got government issuing self-congratulatory reports from time to time, but you have to take their word for it. I think the day of massaging the message are over, and I think there's an incredible public appetite for that information. And unfortunately, there's a shortage of information, and then there's a shortage of oversight, which means that we don't get answers, because we don't have those checks and balances in those places.
When you talk about children, so you mentioned that the number of complaints about families that have to maybe hand over their kids with special needs to get care has increased, not by much, but it's still up. How concerned are you by that?
You know, one case is one case too many. It's actually very serious when parents of special needs children are being forced to give up custody of their children in order for them to get proper care. I mean, this is not new. It's been well documented in the media. We've had one report before, but the system seems to be not tuned to the reality of dealing with these issues. Now, fortunately, when they do arise from time to time, we're there, we bring it up to the government's attention, and it's fixed. But it shouldn't be fixed through the finger in the dike approach. It should be more systemic in its approach. We should be finding ways to better cope. And unfortunately, the government has not yet found a solution to this problem. So we are on it. We're on top of it. And every time it happens, we knock on the ministry's door and we get it fixed, even though it shouldn't be happening.